Jane Kelly, how lovely to see you.
Hi,
Thank you so much for coming along, and thank you so much for agreeing to help promote this review. I've been watching your documentary, which I found really very moving. And what I found really interesting is not only that this is going to help people who were in the military and are in the military, or other young people outside the military, but what I found really interesting is how many of your experiences, the emotional trauma, having to not be yourself, worrying about what disclosure would mean for your future career, how many of these are reflected in the evidence that we've received from the review, enduring consequences on people's health, particularly their mental health. And I'd really like to hear from you, your sort of personal account of how the circumstances existing under the ban when you were in the military affected you.
Well, it had a long-term effect on me. I think not only when I served, because I loved being a soldier, first and foremost, something that I wanted to do since I was 14 years old. On joining, being told that there was a ban in place, but at that stage not actually knowing my sexuality. Then at a young age knowing that I was likely to be gay, and then knowing that you had to hide who you were was very hard, because in one sense you want to be the soldier, you want to go through the ranks, you feel like you've signed up for 22 years and that's going to be your life. On the other side, you live in fear. You live in fear of, let's say, being found out, which could have really detrimental consequences to your career, as you know. In my sense, I was not living your authentic life, even though I was a gay serving soldier. I think the impacts were that on one stage I was being celebrated for the career that I had. I was getting promoted. I felt that I was a really good soldier. On the other side, knowing that it could be gone in one click of a finger, if that, when an interrogation may happen, which it did in my case, you were tripped up, somebody had found something that could indicate that you were gay. That was really hard. But not only was it hard in my career, I think having sport, being a PT, I was able to blank a lot of it, to be honest. It's affected me more in my life. It's affected me.
Well, I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah.
Have you had enduring consequences, as so many of the people who've written to us have said they have, even 30 years later, after they've left the armed services, the armed forces? Has it had an enduring effect on you?
Yeah, absolutely. As my documentary kind of explained, was that I lived in fear. You know, I lived in fear post getting out of the military, which was when I was 27 years old. I'm an adult, international athlete. It was 3 years before the ban was officially lifted in the military. Being an international athlete on the world stage, being in the public domain, and knowing that there was a ban still in place was really extremely hard, because I felt that if at any stage it had come out that I was gay, it would ruin everything for me, my whole life going forward. I then took that fear on, even post the ban, because I didn't know what the combat would be, what the circumstances would be if I publicly came out being gay, having effectively broken what a law was in place. So, you know, that as an adult has been extremely hard on my mental health. I was able to almost push my mental health into being the sport impact, the impact of sport, but it wasn't. It was impact of life, relationships, broken trust, just looking behind your back all the time and just worrying what would happen. Yet for me, I had a love relationship with the military, because I still enjoyed my career.
Yes. So tell me, what is it that inspires you to want to help us on this review? Because, I mean, I was asked to do it. I don't have, like you, a connection with the military. I'm the independent reviewer. I have had a distinguished legal career, but I don't have any military background. But it struck me as something which was very important to correct so far as possible an injustice and to stand up for people who'd been really badly affected and still are badly affected. What about you?
Exactly that, and to give people a voice. I do believe that the review can do a number of things. I think it will give people the chance to talk about their experiences that may never have done it before. I feel that it being independent will give people that security, that what they say is for the benefit of the review to become a strong mission almost, to make changes, to come up with recommendations that can help people. I personally feel that there's a lot of people that still may not be able to speak out for whatever reason. We know that it's affected, as you've got lots of people coming forward, I get it every day, you know, people whose lives literally can't move forward, who have lost everything, careers, finances, family members, and in some cases lives, because of the effect that the military ban had on them going forward as a human being. I'm really passionate that I can possibly help get people to come forward to add to the review, because the more people that come forward, the stronger your review will be to show that something needs to happen, whatever
Absolutely.
that may be.
Absolutely. So what you just said resonates with me in a way about what the consequences would be if they'd found out about you and you loved the military. I mean, so many of the testimonies that we've received are from people who've come from military families, for example, who are not out to their families. And on literally overnight, their whole dream, their plans for their future were shattered. And they've used descriptions like, my life came to an end when I was 24. Yeah. So it is a desperately unhappy and sad move. Yeah. But you're absolutely right. What we need at this point of time, we need the evidence that will give the review weight, that will give the recommendations weight. In the relatively short time since we've been going, we've got nearly over 300 actually. Over 300 testimonies have come through, and we're expecting at least another 300. But the more we get, the better. And I'm very interested to hear that, you know, although you're not part of the review up to today, you know, you haven't been involved. Nonetheless, you are getting also people writing to you as a public figure, which is, you know, really great if we can deploy that for the benefit of the wider group of disaffected and badly affected people who are subject to this ban. It would be absolutely wonderful for us.
Yeah, and I really want that to happen. I want so many more people, because there are so many more people out there that have been affected over the years, for many, many years. And not only them, their family members, you know, people watching people living with that hurt and the fear that they may still have, and the changes that it made to them as a person. You know, there's family members that are affected as well as the individual. So it is very important for me because I want people to come forward. I want people to use their voice, to say what they need to say, because we all know from a mental health point of view, the first step of starting to support yourself is to talk. And if there is a safe environment for them to do that, even if it's just writing about their story, that could help some people. Knowing that someone's listening will make a difference to so many. But, you know, of course, there's a long way to go, isn't there? You know, you've got to read everyone's testaments. But I just hope that if we can get more people to the mix, that gravitas will be so strong. You know, I've seen so many heart-wrenching stories of how it's affected people's lives, and it should never have happened. We can't change historical situations and events, but we can make a difference going forward, and I hope this does.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what we want to do. And of course, in order to work out what are the appropriate recommendations, I need to see what people, not only what's happened to people, but what do they feel would be an appropriate response. We can't turn back the clock. You're absolutely right about that. We are where we are now. But the government have accepted that there was an injustice. We know that there was a decision right the way back in 1999 by the European Court of Human Rights, which condemned the policy, as a result of which the policy was abandoned in January 2000. So we've got that sort of setting, and I want to know not only what's happened to people, and there are terrible, terrible tragedies of what has happened due to all the mental health problems caused by this stress, not being able to be yourself, or bullying, all the consequences of enduring mental health problems, lack of employment, lack of stability, and so on and so forth. I want to know what they feel the government can and should do in order to provide some sort of recognition for that injustice and everything that's happened. So that's why as many people as possible need to come forward, and your voice will be a very powerful voice. There's no question about that. I mean, I don't know the statistics myself, but I'm sure that the program that you did on your documentary would have been seen by huge numbers of people.
Yeah, and I think, the general conception is that people want to see some form of justice, whatever that means going forward, and that is maybe people not even from the LGBT community, maybe not even from the military. I think people realise that as a human you shouldn't be treated in that way, and now we're in an era where we can be more acceptable. I think people need to feel that actually what happened before wasn't acceptable, but that acknowledgement is really important, and that public acknowledgement in some shape or form is really important to the everyday person who know that these people serve for their country, which is a massive thing to do anyway, and those people should be proud of that.
Absolutely. I think that's absolutely... And of course, one of the features of the evidence we've been getting, as well as in those cases that I mentioned had gone to the European Court of Human Rights and were successful there, one of the features is what a great loss to our armed forces of people who had exemplary records, as all of the people did who were in those cases. So many of them had served so well, and for many, some had served for a relatively short period of time before they faced the consequences of the ban for one reason or another. They were disclosed to be LGBT, were immediately dismissed, or they faced a court-martial. But there were many who'd served for a long period of time, 19 years. And then they suddenly find, despite all their service, they're no longer required. I mean, we had the usual form of administrative discharge. If there wasn't a court-martial, was services no longer required. It was a kind of a bland statement, which actually hid all that homophobia that caused the ban to exist and to endure for as long as it did.
I mean, it's unjust really what happened, and I feel that I'm one of the lucky ones, because even though it's affected me for many years, and people know me now as Dame Kelly Holmes double Olympic champion, if those tables were turned when I was 23 years old, I wouldn't be Dame Kelly Holmes double Olympic champion, because I would have lost everything that I thought I ever wanted. I would have lost my own sanity, belief in myself. If I had been discharged from the military, I think I wouldn't be the person I am today. So I feel that for that reason as well, I want people to be heard and to be seen, because they weren't very lucky. They lost everything. They didn't have another platform, another career to excel in. And you're right, they served for their country, and they were good enough when they were in without being known that they were LGBTQ, and just because of who they love or their own sexual orientation, they no longer are a good soldier. Doesn't sound right to me, and I think that's where we should recognise a soldier is a soldier, and everybody joins because they want to be a soldier, and they put everything into being that person. You're just a person at the end of the day.
They love it. They loved it.
They loved it.
Yeah.
And that is the real shame, as you say. You lost some huge talent, and some people that definitely would have gone on to great things as a soldier or officers and led people. We've missed out on those people.
And I think the other thing about your voice will be, as you mentioned before, what is so important is that people know that they can tell their story very often for the first time ever, publicly, and somebody's listening. You know, in your case, somebody who's a public figure. In my case, perhaps less well known than yourself, but at least I am somebody who's going to write the report, and I'm listening.
Yeah.
My team is listening, and that provides a sense of empowerment.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse for people who suffered an injustice than a sense of a lack of power and being on your own. So, I think that it'll be very good. We'd be absolutely delighted, and we'll benefit from your engagement on this. I mean, it's been a very rapid journey for you, but fortunately, your rapid journey has led you here at a very timely moment to try to do justice where there has been a great injustice committed for so many people. We don't have all the figures, but we are talking about a significant number of people over the period that I'm dealing with, which is 67 to 2000.